Hello and welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast, episode 377 for what's today? 11/27/2022, November 27th, 2022. My name is Nathan Reensbruth. Joining me this week, we have Connor, the Cyberpunk Monk Bash.
Oh yeah, video games and tech news.
That's what we cover. And we have Andrew Roa McFain.
Yes, the most original podcast in the world.
We've
cornered the market.
Yeah. Yes, we have cornered the market on video game and tech news with our specific
Three cis
opinions.
white men talking about the weird obscure things that they like.
Hey,
which aren't actually that weird or obscure.
We have part of the LGBT community come in here sometimes and help us out. Sometimes.
I mean, I like some fucked up shit.
I don't think that counts.
I'm slightly gay.
You're gay-ish, but like it'll take your wife divorcing you before you go and start experimenting. Is that what we're talking about?
I
think it would just have to be like a consensual party.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for Aroa, but I feel like I kind of know what their deal is.
You know,
cool.
You know, the great thing is there's like 14-year-olds who listen to this podcast.
Hey, whatever. Be open-minded.
That's their problem, not mine.
That's true.
Also, Nathan. No,
yes?
No, they aren't.
Yeah, no. I have been told by another listener that
what 14-year-olds do you know?
I don't know any.
Is Nathan getting canceled right now?
Should we be concerned?
No, it's a listener's nephew, I believe, listens to the podcast.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's one of my friend's nephews. Anyway, Aroa, where can we find you?
You go to aroa.website, which I need to modify soon, but I'll get to it eventually, you know.
What are you going to modify on it?
So right now there's a Mastodon link, and that's going to change either to a miskey, or there's a fork of miskey that has a lot of improvements to it, and I might use that instead. Okay. Hosting your own Fediverse server is a wacky world.
Yeah.
Also, while I'm talking, I should note there's a cat on my desk, and if I don't let him lay on the desk, he will just scream until I put him on the desk.
I hear him purring.
So, yeah, like it's either this or you get screaming throughout the entire podcast. So you're just gonna get some purring every once in a while.
Yeah, that happens. I too have a cat that likes to jump up on my desk. She does not yell when you don't let her up on the desk, but you'll like throw her down and she'll just keep jumping back up.
Well, he's only got 3 legs, so he can't get up on the desk on his own. So his answer is to yell at me.
That makes sense. You're not doing Hive? Yeah, I've heard of Hive as another alternative to Twitter.
I think I saw one person post about that.
Yeah.
I am assuming that it's yet another throwaway social network that isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it's not decentralized, I just don't care.
And then the other one that I urge everyone to go to is Space Hay, which is
that a porn site?
It is the MySpace ripoff.
The old MySpace actually,
ripoff.
That site's really cool.
Of course it is. Of course you'd think that. I remember when I left my computer unlocked and I had a friend who went into my MySpace account on my computer and changed everything to be as gay as possible.
I had somebody do that to me once.
Yep. And it was like, there's a section on MySpace that would be like, who are your heroes? and he changed it to these are my only heroes, and it showed a gay Batman and Robin. And I was
That's
like,
pretty funny.
it was good. It was good. I wasn't that mad. It took me like 20 minutes to fix, but it was still like, come on, guys.
I know we're getting off topic here. MySpace was fantastic to be in junior high school and no HTML.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
there was like a solid year where I was the guy. Someone needed something on their profile, they came to me.
Yeah.
And these are
MySpace
skills
was-
that I've used my entire life, essentially.
Yeah, that was like the way that I got into the like base level web dev that I know
Yeah.
was just customizing my fucking MySpace profile.
Everyone has
cool.
all these HTML templates that are just available like in open source code on their sites. Yeah, I will study someone's profiles for 15 minutes and give you whatever you want, homie.
Yeah.
You can have custom mouse cursor.
It did have some vulnerabilities, I think, with the way that their platform was so open. But we're gonna move on. Connor, we can find you at Aroa.website. Anything you want to plug?
You know I do. I want to plug Clinton Score Classics or Rise of the Rune Lords first edition actual play I already said first edition podcast. It's great. You should check it out. I work real hard on it.
You do. You do. You work way harder on it than we do on this podcast. And you can find me, Nathan Reads Truth, everywhere. I'm still on Twitter for some reason. You can find me there at Reeton. I post about when I'm going live. And then on Twitch, you can find me at twitch.tv/Reeton. This podcast that you're listening to, if you're listening to it on YouTube, you can find me on Spotify. If you're on Spotify, you can find me on YouTube at Reeton and Reeton Podcast. It depends on how you like listening to this podcast. I have somebody on my Twitter who said that they're going to listen to my podcast, and they said that they will only listen to podcasts on YouTube. So I guess now that we're posting podcasts on YouTube, that's a good thing.
Just in time.
Just in time. We just did it.
I had a coworker who also had that same sentiment. So
Yeah.
That's cool.
I
get it,
should-
but okay.
I should transcribe my podcast and get it on YouTube.
I have a coworker who won't do like audio podcasts, but will only do video podcasts. Like they will only watch what is it, the Pat the NES Punk? What's CU? I forget what the CU stands for.
Oh, yeah.
But the only watch like those because they film it with cameras and then also release it in audio format.
So they're one of those what do you call it?
Visual people?
Oh no, I was gonna say parasocial people.
Maybe.
You know,
Maybe that's it.
they want to feel like they're hanging out with their friends, and they can look at them and go, ha, 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 "That's great, niche internet celebrity friend."
Maybe that's it. But we are going to move on. We're going to talk to Connor. What games have you played this week?
Oh man, the first one I want to talk about is Super Smash Brothers. Have you guys ever played 8-player Smash with like actual 8 players?
Yes, it is chaotic.
It
I don't
is
have
so
any friends.
we did Friendsgiving over the weekend, and it was my first time playing 8-player Smash where like everyone brought their own controller. We all had like mains that we were playing. We did tournament mode, which is the right way to play Smash with that many people in a room. It was so fun doing brackets and tournaments. And then I played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and I 100%ed that. That was probably the fastest game I've ever 100%ed, like in the Assassin's Creed list, which I guess is what happens when you give an Assassin's Creed a Batman grappling hook, which I'm questionable about. When you could zipline around the city, it sure does make doing anything but ziplining around the city really tedious. And in a game where you're mostly like chasing people or ambushing people, you really start to miss it when you can't use it. But that's my review for like a 5-year-old game now. I'm also still on the lookout for some sort of game that's going to take up my time that's not a shooter. So you know what I did is I went out and picked up Halo Infinite campaign.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Without
I think
me.
But that's
Well,
a shooter.
I know, but nothing else is jumping out at me.
But
I've been cycling
but
through
without
games.
me,
It's on sale right now for 50% off. You want to do it, homie?
I have it on Game Pass.
Oh, yeah, we should do that sometime.
Of course I have it because I have Game Pass because I have a streaming channel where I play through many games a year. I'm up to like 25 this year, and Game Pass helps facilitate that for a pretty reasonable cost.
Of course. Yeah, we'll play some Halo Infinite sometime probably.
Yeah.
What I did like while I was jumping games is I've just been loading things up on my Steam Deck and trying them out there. I tried to play Dishonored 2, Dishonored the original one for like 2 hours, and it hit me that I've already 100% of this game multiple times, both the high chaos and the low chaos mode. I don't think I could do it again.
You can do it.
It was getting there in the sense that it's not a first person shooter. Like I was really loving walking around the city again, but man, this game sure is 10 years old. Its AI is starting to show its age a little bit.
Have you thought
It
about?
loves me a stealth game, but I need something that is a little more challenging, a little less explored already.
Have you thought about Gears of War or Dead Space, third-person shooters?
I actually do miss Gears of War quite a bit. I think we talked
What about
about
Just Cause?
Just Cause is a little wacky for me.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
And not that there's anything like I love Borderlands and it's very wacky, but that's just not the feed that I'm looking for right now. So tune in as I continuously endeavor to look for what is a playable game in this.
Metal Gear Rising.
Maybe.
That is a good game. But
Maybe.
we're gonna move on to me, unless you have a Warhammer moment.
No, I haven't even painted in like a week.
Oh
Shame on me.
no, are you feeling okay?
Every living moment I have, I'm preparing for a podcast, I'm editing a podcast, or I'm playing video games lately, trying to find something good.
That makes sense. So, we're gonna move on to me and Monday, because I stream Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Reeton. But anyway, on Monday I was like, oh hey look, another new game on Game Pass that I was slightly interested in, and that game was Dune Spice Wars. And let me tell you, I do not like this game. It has way too many systems. It's an RTS, but to me, it tends to play a little bit more like Civilization, just with RTS instead of it being turn-based strategy. Because you have you have your skills you have to level up. I'm sorry.
Is it a grand strategy?
I don't. It's a 4X.
Have you ever-
It's a 4X. I'm not sure if.
Does it play? Is it kind of like? Did you ever play Crusader Kings or like?
It is not like that.
Europa Universalis or something? Okay.
It's more. It's like a mixture between, like Age of Empires and Civilization, but like, I feel that there are way too many systems in it. So you have just like the basic city building. You have city takeovers where you can annex or destroy cities that you have conquered. And there are like little NPC cities that you can take over near your base. And then use those to build new factories and plants and stuff. There is obviously you have to harvest the spice, because that's what you do in the Dune RTS games.
You control the spice, you control the world.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Do it. Say the line. Say the line, Nathan.
I don't know, because I don't like Dune.
The spice must flow.
Oh, there we go. Yes. I played the Harkonnen because they seemed like the only evil people.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's all of those. There's taxes you have to pay. So periodically they'll just take your spice away from you. And you have a slider in the top left that you can either keep all the spice that you're harvesting or sell some of the spice that you're harvesting, or you choose the slider to determine how much spice you keep versus how much you're selling periodically. And then they introduced there's a stock market where you're trying to buy up as much of this stock as possible, because that's another way you can win, is by controlling the stock market. And if you get 80% of the shares in that particular stock for Dune Spice Wars, then you win the game. I just think there might be too many systems at play.
It really does seem like it's trying to be every strategy game that's gotten any level of popularity over the last 10 years all at the same time.
Yeah.
There was a game that you played as like corporations, and like that was a main way to win the game, was by basically owning the stock market.
Yeah, and there are other things. So you have agents that you can put in specific positions to either weaken your opponents or like gain certain abilities, and you get different agents over time, or you can get new agents by capturing the other people's agents through ways. You can also
the spy system from Civ. Okay.
Yeah. Then there's also just normal skills, like you level up your different skills just like you would in Civilization, where if you go down this path you're more military, and if you go down this path you're more diplomacy. And it's just I think that they're trying too hard. I think that if I was hoping with I was hoping with Dune Spice Wars, not Spice Wars Dune, with Dune Spice Wars, that it would be more like Dune for the DOS.
The DOS.
Dune for DOS. Or those older, I remember playing it years upon years ago. I think it was Dune 2. And it's just a traditional RTS, like Age of Empires, like 2 or 3, right? Where, you build up your cities and you go out and you battle. I was hoping it would just be like that, but there are just so many systems that they throw at you. And obviously, if you jump into it, you're not going to know what to do. So the good news is...
It also seems like the real-time element just adds more stress for no real reason.
Yeah, it might be better as a turn-based strategy. With all those systems in place, right? It would be better as a turn-based.
Or at least I wonder if they went with real-time just because of the history of Dune games all being RTSs. And they were just like, well, we can't make it turn-based. No one will play it.
And of course, your harvester can get eaten by a sandworm if you don't recall the harvester. There's a sandworm attack approaching, and you'll get a warning, and then you have to move your harvester away from the spice. Otherwise, the sandworm will eat your harvester, and you have to build a new one, which could be a problem if you don't have enough materials to build a new harvester. Anyway,
I got a brand new combine harvester. I'll give you the key.
Yes, and so it's on Game Pass. It's in early access right now, so you can play it right now. It plays fine. It's just it's not my type of game. There's too many systems, and I'm too stupid to know what to do. Anyway, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, because Thursday was Thanksgiving, and I was planning on streaming, but then I went to my sister's house, and they got drunk, and my sister told me she didn't appreciate my sweater because I wore my Bernie Sanders sweater. It was great. It's good.
Did you tell her you don't appreciate her face?
No, I was like, I said, this sweater that he sold, they raised over $1 million for charity, and she's like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, seriously, like fucking people here are stupid. They're so dumb.
Communist charity.
Yeah, Meals on Wheels, feeding old people. Anyway.
Sounds like communism to me.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday I played Mass Effect 2. I am about done with it. I just have a couple more of the character storyline quests to do, because you have to, in that game, I know. I'm spoiling a. When did it come out? 2009?
Like 15 years old by this point, I think.
Yeah. I'm spoiling a very, very old game, but there's a suicide mission at the end, and a part of getting out of that mission is choosing the correct people, because you'll be thrown into a scenario and they'll be like, choose who goes and leads this group, and you have to choose the right people. And so there's that part of it where you just got to choose the right person to do the right thing. But
You better
also,
have done all the loyalty missions.
yeah, if you haven't done all the loyalty missions, those,
Hey, why are you playing Mass Effect?
yeah, somebody might die. So like my friend, there was a character that he didn't really like, so he did all the loyalty missions except for this one character that he was like, I don't like her. And so at the end of the game, he chose all the right people for all the right jobs, and then it just like cuts to her and she's just laying dead, and he's like,
And their head
good.
explodes.
And yeah, he's just like, good, and like walked back on the ship. And so you have to make sure to do all the loyalty missions or everyone dies, and it's all your fault. Anyway, I'll probably beat that game next week, and then I'll have to find a new game to play. I don't know what game that. Oh, actually, it might be.
Play Sonic.
It might be the new Marvel Midnight Suns game.
It should be the new Sonic the Hedgehog.
Have you bought that game for me yet?
No.
Okay, then.
Just
I'll
consider it an investment.
I'll buy it for you on
stream.
PS5.
I have a PS5.
I know you do. It's $35.
Oh,
on
is it?
PS5.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I unfortunately I don't have a disc version of the PS5. I have the disc-less version of the
You
PS5.
fucking heathen. You're part of the problem.
It's because it was the only way I could get one at the time. Okay, and I have played.
And you use
one
it
game
so
on-
fucking often.
I played one game on it. Anyway, we are going to move on, and we're going to talk about some news stories.
Okay. Could I do an honorable mention before we start?
No.
Too bad. I'm gonna do it anyways.
Oh, okay.
You guys know that new the Pokemon Scarlet and the Pokemon Violet video game? You know this? Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know that the Battle Stadium feature where you can like play with your friends uses the same RNG seed for every battle?
No, I didn't. I don't even know what you're talking about.
So you know how like computers randomly generate numbers?
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that.
Every battle will always use the same like generator. So what this means is you could always ensure moves will do like one hit KOs if they're randomized moves like sheer cold. That always you can make it so it always hits.
Oh.
You know your hyper beam only has a 60% chance of missing. Well, you know which turns it'll hit,
Interesting.
and that's
When
a
did-
problem.
When
Yeah,
did
it
Game
is.
Freak like just stop trying? When did that happen?
Black and white.
Maybe it's Black and White 2. I don't know. Black and White, I liked those games, but I think this is probably the worst received Isn't it the worst received Pokemon game that came out so far?
It's
I
got
don't
the
know, people-
typical modern Nintendo syndrome of setting sales records while also being universally hated.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that means they're going to continue doing it.
And I know we're really off topic here, but I've already seen people playing this on like the emulator with 60 FPS mods, and it looks
Mhm.
so good. This
Mhm.
game, I don't want to say it's the hardware because you can optimize the engine better or whatever, but
It's
yeah,
hard.
damn, it looks good on PC.
It's a hardware.
Well, no, it's not though, is the thing. Because you look at Xenoblade Chronicles and it looks so
fine.
much better than Pokemon. And Xenoblade doesn't even have anywhere near as stylized of an art style as Pokemon does. There's no
guys-
reason why Pokemon runs as shittily as it does on the Swatch, other than just Game Freak doesn't have the technical know-how / experience / budget, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what it is that could possibly be hamstringing that studio so hardcore. But I had thought initially, oh, well, it's the Switch. Like, it's not going to be able to do a big open world game very well. And Zelda got away with it because it was already a port of a Wii U game, and they have Nintendo proprietary bullshit. But Xenoblade Chronicles is in the same boat as Pokemon, where it's technically a second-party title. It's not made internally by Nintendo, so they have just as many resources as Game Freak should, if not less than Game Freak, because Game Freak owns, the biggest fucking product in the world. But yet, Xenoblade looks incredible, and Pokemon looks like it's not done.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying to some friends of mine, is that I'm gonna wait until a patch or two comes out before I pick up Pokemon. Or
I bet you it's never going to get that much better.
It probably won't, but honestly, I'll probably
not until the Switch 2.
I'll probably just play it on my computer. It's probably what I'll do.
It'll be good when it'll be good when it's released as Pokemon Scarlet 2 and Pokemon This Color is copyrighted. Please pay $6.99 for this color.
I do want to ask you guys one question before we move on to the stories. Aroa, did you buy anything for Black Friday? Or Cyber Monday, whichever one. I know that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah, but they do like all the deals are through the weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't even fucking matter. Did I though? I don't.
You
not
don't think
really.
So?
Not really. Like I'm considering like getting an air fryer.
Oh,
like
my sister had one of those. I recommend it. It's pretty badass.
I will buy you one for free. So
okay.
and I'm not even kidding. I have your address. There is a thing at my work called Smiles Points.
Yeah.
And I have to, like, because we're switching to a different company, we have to use them by like March of next year. And by the middle of December, they stop being able to give out points. So I have like over 1,000 points now. And one of the things I can buy for relatively cheap is like a 1,000 point air fryer.
Okay.
So yeah. And actually, I did that because I had 1,500 points. And I was like, what the hell do I get with this? And I'm looking, and I was like, the only thing that I have here is an air fryer that like would make sense. Either that or like a bigger rice cooker than the one I have. So I got the air fryer, and we already have an air fryer attachment for our Instant Pot. So I just have an air fryer sitting on my floor that is still boxed up. But yeah, I'll just shoot you an air fryer from that Smiles thing.
Okay.
Damn, I wish I asked for an air fryer.
Happy Christmas.
Wow.
And Connor, did you get anything for Black Friday?
No, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sink some money on a monitor.
Oh yeah.
Because I've had two ultra wide monitors for I don't know, like a year or something now, and there's a lot of games that just don't really support it.
No.
And like Chai2 Box really doesn't like being in that ultra wide format, and yeah, I just think having one big center monitor with like a blazing fast refresh rate would be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'm looking for fast refresh rate or if I'm looking for like 4K HD or something. And now that I have a graphics card that can handle either, I need to probably do some homework before tomorrow.
For me, the choice that I made was 1440p, 144 hertz is going to give you the best middle ground and only be like $200 to $300.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was thinking for. I see a lot of things for UHD, and I think you're right.
Yeah,
it's the 144 hertz, 144p, or 1440p, however it's commonly said. I think that's the sweet spot.
I bought two things this week. Well, one thing arrived, and the other thing I ordered yesterday night in a tired haze. The first thing I bought another Steam Deck. And the reason is,
okay,
I want my Steam Deck back. And my girlfriend's had my Steam Deck for like the last 2 months. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy you a Steam Deck for Christmas. And she's like, but that costs a lot of money. I'm like, yes, but I want mine back. So Merry fucking Christmas. And then last night, I was sitting in bed and I saw that on the Google Store, if you trade in your original Pixel 6, which I have, they will give you a $495 trade-in value for the Pixel 6. So I ended up getting the Pixel 7 Pro for $270. So that's what I got.
Well,
Still an expensive
shit.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that. Like I was not going to do. I was just like, I'll wait until the 8 or the 9 comes out, and then there was like $400 and something. And if you don't go with the Pro model of the Pixel 7, I think that it ends up being like it's only $20 to get the Pixel 7. But I wanted the Pro, yeah. So it's not a bad trade-in, and I already have a Pixel 6. So might as well upgrade. I don't know. It was fine. It's fine. I need to stop spending money. But we're going to move on. We're going to talk about Ubisoft. Ubisoft is back on Steam.
Hooray!
Anybody
I didn't
else?
even notice they were gone.
I noticed.
I noticed too, because every time you would launch one of their games, it'd be like, do you have Ubisoft Connect or whatever the fuck it is? And I'm like, fine, I guess. And so any game I wanted to play that was Ubisoft, which is few and far between now, would require you to like go to Uplay. Kind of like with Game Pass. One of the things I don't like about it is they partnered with like EA, and in order to play certain games like Mass Effect, you have to have the EA downloader, not Origin.
No, they're retiring Origin.
They're retiring Origin, and they have the EA downloader thing. It's called just EA.
I think it's just the EA app for Windows, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
It says for Windows in the name because, just in case you weren't aware.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I do have a little tangent about Ubisoft Connect. As I mentioned earlier, I just finished 100%ing Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Uh-huh.
And the way I was able to do that is I had it on my Steam Deck. Now, I had a little issue that took me a little bit of time to troubleshoot, which is my cloud saves weren't like transferring over. In a game like Assassin's Creed, when you're trying to 100% it, that's really annoying. Long story short, the issue is the Ubisoft Connect client that came with the like Linux version of the game that you install from Steam is a Windows executable.
Oh, good.
You can get around this by launching it in-game, which you need to like set the button to have the interface open using the Steam UI, which took some homework, but I was able to do it. That was able to get my cloud saves fixed.
Oh, good.
But damn, Ubisoft, get your shit together.
Well, there are other ways to get those games working. Like you can get Epic games downloaded to your
Epic games are pretty easy.
Yeah, to your Steam Deck. And I think what's the other one? Oh, GOG. GOG.
Yeah.
Just download Windows on your Steam Deck.
You could do that, but
I did that for a week. It doesn't run like crap. It's just that you run into problems where like you don't have an easy way of getting out of a game that like crashes, or if otherwise the system becomes unresponsive, like you're kind of stuck restarting the whole thing. And Windows is just a lot slower than SteamOS.
Yeah.
And like there are some incompatibility issues in terms of the drivers. They're just like the whole thing just feels a lot less refined and streamlined. You also have issues with Steam input. So like games sometimes just won't detect the deck controller, and there's some workarounds you have to do with that. It's all a big pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get the Heroic launcher for Epic. I think it's called the Heroic launcher.
Yeah.
And that's basically a third-party launcher that just its purpose is to launch Epic games. There's also Lutris, I think, is sort of a Swiss Army knife kind of tool for just playing games on Linux that don't have any kind of native support. There's a lot that you can do to get those things working. And speaking of that, I wonder if that's what Ubisoft's motivation was here, that they saw how successful the Steam Deck is and realized that that's a whole market that they're losing out on by being a bunch of dumbasses and taking things off of Steam.
That might be part of it. I think they just realized that it's better to have their games on Steam. I think from what I remember, Microsoft had that for a while too, where there were a lot of games that they would release that would be released on Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
not, on Steam. And they're just like, you know what, screw it. Like, Halo is going to be on Steam, and this, like, if you want to give us money, like, why not?
Right.
And
Like Microsoft realized forever ago with multiple aspects of their business that like it makes way more sense to just put your services and products on as many platforms as possible and just let people give you money. Like the whole walled garden concept really isn't all that useful if you can't get people to do like an Apple fanboy thing. Like there's no Microsoft fanboy sort of universe. So it makes more sense to just vomit your shit everywhere.
yeah,
Sony's doing the same thing. That's why you're seeing PC releases of all of their previous console exclusive games. Like, and I'm sure that even Ragnarok will end up on PC in the next year or so.
yeah, probably. It'll probably be exclusive for a year and then come over to PC or something else. Hopefully. We'll see what happens, but I think that their PC games are doing pretty well. I know Horizon Dawn did pretty well. Um,
Even
Her,
the original God of War, not the original, but like the most recent,
yeah,
the most. God, this is getting confusing. It's the Xbox thing all over again. God damn it, games. God of War.
yeah, the original new God of, like, the remaster with Norse mythology. Um,
Yes.
that was made by Santa Monica Studio. That one has done really well, and Spider-Man, I assume, has been doing
Oh yeah.
gangbusters.
Spider-Man's been like consistently in the top sellers on Steam for a little while.
And the reason is it's such a good game. Like, it's
Yeah.
not the type of game that I would generally play, but I remember playing through it, and Spider-Man is the best of that type of game.
And
It's
it's like it's just like why, especially like it made sense back in like even the 360 era that you wouldn't necessarily do a PC port because you'd have to either spend a lot of man hours on that or farm it out to a porting house and hope that they do a good job.
yeah.
Whereas now, like PC hardware and console hardware, it's all essentially the same. So there's hardly any effort involved. Like the Gorilla engine that runs Horizon Zero Dawn, like that just runs on PC with like hardly any effort involved. That's why Death Stranding got an immediate PC release.
Well, yeah,
So
same with Days Gone. It's just unreal. Like, most of the games made nowadays are either something like Gorilla or it's just Unreal, and it's
yeah,
super easy to port over. So I don't expect them to. I do expect Sony to try to at least keep things exclusive for a while, but then come to PC. But we're
mhm.
already seeing, like, Microsoft is putting everything on PC already, and from what I understand, Nintendo's already doing that. Ryujinx runs Pokemon pretty well, from what I hear. Oh,
I don't think Nintendo wants that.
oh, interesting. But moving back to Ubisoft, I think that this is a good move for them to include um, include their games on Steam again and not require the stupid launcher, because you would have the games on Steam, and then it would be like, you got to download the launcher, so you'd have to download another launcher, which I know. I know that Cyberpunk Monk likes having as many launchers on his computer as possible.
That is incorrect. I have Steam and I tolerate Ubisoft Connect, and boy, I think its days are numbered even.
I don't
I
know. I
I can't imagine that like because they killed off like Uplay, right? And like all the Uplay rewards shit, which
yeah,
kind of hamstrings a bunch of games of the 360 generation and like the early Xbone PS4 generation.
yeah.
But like I, I can't imagine that Ubisoft wants to keep wasting money on supporting those systems. Like, why would you want to keep developers working on this launcher that literally no one likes and working on like supporting this background infrastructure that, you just ask EA, obviously running a couple of servers is super expensive and time consuming, right? So like why are they doing that instead of just letting everything sit on top of Steamworks, which comes with publishing on Steam, and just leaving it at that? I don't get that.
I know why.
There's no way they're getting that much analytics info from that client that they couldn't just embed in the game itself.
I know why. It's because Valve takes 30% of the revenue.
They take that anyway. Is my thing. Like,
Oh, I
like
see.
uh,
I see.
whenever they were publishing on Steam before and they still required you to download Uplay, like what fucking value does that bring? Do you really expect that there are going to be people who are going to instead just directly open Uplay and then go, "Oh, I can just buy my Ubisoft games here?" Like they had to have analytics that showed that people weren't doing that a long time ago. And hey, maybe that's why they started going to the Epic Store. But like, if they realized that the Uplay client wasn't bringing in direct purchases, and then now have realized that the Epic Store wasn't making up that much in terms of profits to make it worthwhile, then like, why continue creating these barriers to entry for people who just want to download and play a game? I don't get it.
Yeah. And
But
while
Ubisoft does a lot of stupid things, so
I'm sure there are a lot of people who spend a lot of money on the Epic Store, especially with like Fortnite and Fortnite. But the mentality I have with Epic is I use it for my free monthly game. That's it.
yeah.
So I don't go there and browse their store unless there's a huge sale. And typically, if there is a huge sale, it's games I already have or games that I don't really care about. But, you know, every month or two, I'll be like, oh, hey, look, Star Wars Squadrons is free this month, and I'll grab that. Or I think next month, last year for Christmas, they had like the 12 days of Christmas where every day was a different free game.
Oh yeah, I might have to reinstall the Epic launcher for that.
Because they had some really good game. Like they had the Pathfinder Kingmaker on there, which is a 100-hour game. Like they had some really good games for free that you could grab, but you had to check every single day to see which one it was. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Ubisoft is back. They have continued their relationship with Valve, and we're gonna move on and we're gonna talk about this $10 billion failure that is Amazon Alexa.
Yeah.
Somebody brought this up. I think it was Connor.
No, it was me.
No, it was
I think-
Ola.
It was me. There's a cat. There's a cat pawing at my keyboard right now, so the article is scrolling up and down without my control.
Oh, good.
But basically, yeah, it turns out Alexa is a complete disaster.
I have
Amazon-
two. I know.
Like Amazon, I guess, put a bunch of money into into the Alexa platform, assuming that, well, somebody will spend money on it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like somebody will use it to buy products off of Amazon, and it turns out no, they don't. No one does that. Literally, no one uses it. Well, I've got it. Yeah, Alexa was getting 1 billion interactions a week, but most of those conversations were trivial commands to play music or ask about the weather. They can't monetize that. So basically, like Amazon's spending billions of dollars literally on these transactions and not getting any money back on it because like Alexa doesn't play ads. Alexa doesn't like I am setting off somebody's fucking echo right now.
I hope so.
But like it doesn't really like prompt you to buy things all that often. I know whenever I first got mine, sometimes it'd be like, hey, do you want to rebuy this cat litter? And I'd be like, sometimes I'd say yes. And then it's like, okay, I put it in your cart. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not useful.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what I use it for? Every morning, I will wake up and I will start taking my shower and I will say, Echo, good morning. And it will say, good morning. Here's the weather for the day. And now I'm going to play you 5 minutes of NPR so you're caught up on the news stories for the day. And that's it.
Like that is, I think that's the most anyone does with it. Like
will
I don't even
also
do that.
I will also play Jeopardy with it.
The most that I ever do with either my Google Home or my Alexa devices, I will be like, "Hey, what's what time is it in Japan right now?" Or like, what's the etymology of the word potato? Like,
Yeah.
it'll be something stupid and inane. So like, I don't know really what Amazon was expecting here,
I think
other than
the idea was kind of the same thing it is with consoles, right? They'll sell the console at a loss and then hope that it will drive people to buy more things there. So,
what? Yeah,
with
and
Game
so that
Pass
was
or like they'll buy the software or they'll buy new controllers and stuff. But with Alexa, I mean, as you stated, like you're like, hey, buy this, and they're like, we put it in your cart. Go check on your computer, I guess, instead of just
so
buying the thing with the buy now button.
they mention that like they don't make money on the hardware. They don't sell
No.
it at a loss, but they sell it at cost.
Okay.
So they're making no money on that. And like they tried to spin it as people who use Alexa products spend more money at Amazon, and then it turned out that wasn't true. It makes
Interesting.
absolutely no difference at all.
And also, the first generation is like the best speaker they had, and then
Yeah.
like they started like making it more cost effective, and the speaker's not as good.
I mean
So-
the Echo. I have the most recent generation Echo Dot that I got for I think Black Friday last year.
Yeah.
And like it's fine, but like I don't listen to music on it because that's the other thing that like maybe I'm just not like everyone else, but like I would feel awkward blaring my music in the middle of the house whenever other people live in my house with me.
I will.
And so like
yeah, I feel awkward with that too. I have one in my bathroom, so I will listen to music while I'm taking a shower sometimes, and that's about it.
yeah, and I can get that, but like either way, like there was no way that Amazon was going to make money on this, and apparently, according to this article with Ars Technica, Google Assistant is in very much the same boat. And I don't know if we talked about it on here, but a little while ago there was an article that came out that Google was essentially gutting their Google Assistant line of the business, where they were cutting a ton of jobs because, wow, go figure. It's not actually making them any money.
Yeah,
And
according to this article, aren't they cutting 10,000 jobs?
yeah,
At Amazon.
Yeah, and that's not all in the Alexa corner, but that is a huge chunk of it, because like the division that lost $10 billion, that isn't just Alexa, but that is a vast majority of it is Alexa. Like,
man, they sure went from nobody wants to work to we're cutting 10,000 jobs pretty quick.
Right. So like really the only way to maintain this would be to raise the price on the devices, a la what Apple does, which is not going to happen, or they just got to cut back funding on it and let it roll.
They've either got to find a way to monetize it like they do with their tablets, right? Their tablets have that ad supported one where it shows an ad before you unlock on the lock screen. They could do something like that where in the morning when you first say, hey, good morning, it'll like play an ad for you. I mean, I would hate that.
This is your morning briefing brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Yeah. And I would hate that.
Please no.
But it would be a way to make money. Another way is to keep it at the same price but cut manufacturing costs. Try to find a way to make it cheaper but keep it at the same price.
Well, the way you do that is you turn it into an app, which it already is.
It is.
Like, you just get rid of the hardware division, which is essentially what they're doing. But the reason Main reason I wanted to bring this up, which is just a very simple thing, is I fucking called it. Because I said back whenever these things first came out, and like me being the consumerist whore tech nerd that I am, I was like, I don't get it. Who is this for? What does this do? Like, what does this accomplish that I can't accomplish just by wearing a watch or like pulling my phone out of my pocket? Are there that many people who put their phone down in one room and then walk out of the room?
Or having a Bluetooth speaker.
Right. Like the only thing this accomplishes is being a Bluetooth speaker. Like that's what I use my Google Home for more than anything else, is I connect to it as a Bluetooth speaker.
Mhm.
Like yeah, it's just a Bluetooth speaker that you can plug into the wall. Like I have never understood how this was ever going to be a viable product. And as it turns out, it never was. Just like with music streaming and Twitter, like it's never made a profit, and it's just kind of operated on the goodwill of a bunch of stupid venture capitalists, more or less. Like it's just people throwing money at a thing, hoping that eventually it'll become viable, and it never did, and it probably never will.
Yeah, like it'd be like some stupid person spending like $40 billion on a Twitter app or something. I don't know.
It'd be pretty stupid to do that.
It'd be pretty fucking stupid. We're gonna move on.
Just a hot opinion.
What's up?
Do these things need to be profitable? Does everything need to be generating money once it's already been sold? Can't I just have a lock screen?
So the reason that and I know, but the reason that one would argue that it does need to be profitable is that if it's not profitable, it can't sustain itself.
Can we go back? I need to ask Connor what he means. Like, do you mean profitable immediately, like sell it at for a profit, or do you mean like continuously making money?
I mean, like if you want a service like an Alexa and a Google Assistant or something like that, does it really need to be something that constantly generates revenue? You make it the one time, you make it a product that people want to purchase. That should be your incentive. You can then make better products that people then want to purchase because it's better. I feel like when we're at this point where it's like you need to purchase this product and then you need to pay to get all these extra features attached to it if you want it, which is, the next logical step to how do we make these things profitable. And I just feel like if we stopped and went, hey, this isn't sustainable, it might be better for everyone in the long haul.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Well, that used to be Apple's business model, right? Like, it used to be you bought the product and, like, yeah, it cost a fuckload, but that was the product. And then you get in on all of the other Apple features that come with that. And, like, you can't sell the thing at cost and then expect it to be sustainable. It's like how whenever the App Store first came out, a lot of like productivity apps, you'd pay, I don't know, $10 for it up front. And you wouldn't get a whole lot of sales because no one wants to spend $10 on an app. But also, what do you do once you run out of people who are willing to pay for that? Like you can't expect year over year for people to continue buying this app.
Yes,
like there's not that many new people coming into the market. So what you do,
expect people to continuously pay $10 for new apps though, which I assume is what you're getting at.
Well, yeah, and so for a while, that's what they would do is you'd basically buy new versions of the app. But it ended up turning out that the easier way of doing it was just to have everything use a subscription model, which is Adobe, I guess, really is the most famous example of that, because it used to be that if you wanted the Adobe Creative Suite, you bought Adobe CS5 or CS6, you paid fucking $1,500, $2,000 for this collection of software, and then you got all of the minor updates until the next major revision for free. Yeah. And you never paid another license fee. And then they converted that to a subscription service, and that's kind of where everything else in the whole market has gone. It's just, it makes more sense from a financial perspective of being able to go, we can get recurring revenue with very little actual investment on our part required by just implementing a subscription service or some kind of add-on afterwards, rather than charging a huge fee up front. And really, like Apple is really the only one out there besides maybe Tesla, I guess, to a lesser degree, that can get away with it. You have to have that sort of brain dead community of fans who are willing to throw a ton of cash up front at something to be able to run that sort of business. Otherwise, everyone has to do what you're describing, which is the thing that I've stood against. I think is bullshit, and I hate the way that the industry is going of essentially selling the full product piecemeal after you get a cheap introductory service.
Oh, I hate it. I hate the like cloud service model that they have with like Adobe products. They're awful.
Yeah.
They're
It's
absolutely
terrible.
And apparently they broke colors. We didn't talk about this, but we
We
could talk
did.
about that right. Oh, did we? Oh, we did. We did.
You didn't.
You
We did.
You were gone.
I
but,
remember that. Yes, I was gone. I apologize. I was in another
We
country.
actually talked about it before Linus Tech Tips released a video on it.
Yes.
That's why people come to us at the Root Entertainment Podcast for hot topical news.
Yeah, but yeah, they broke colors, which is stupid. But we're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about new DMCA strikes by Nintendo because they are taking down poster art from from Emu Deck. Was it with the Emu Deck people were downloading it?
It's that is the most prominent group of people who are probably downloading from. It's from Steam Grid DB. So basically, Steam Grid DB is a service / site that just hosts box art for video games. Their main thing is if you put ROMs into your Steam client, by default, all you get is a square with the text that is the name of the game on it.
Yeah.
So if you go through Steam Grid DB, you can get the box art for the game, and it's already formatted for Steam. It looks nice. It's really cool. Well, it turns out that Nintendo doesn't want this, so they filed DMCA claims on a ton of essentially just like Mario and Zelda box art. Like it's not even like everything. It's just the really, really popular shit. Because that's fucking Nintendo for you.
Oh yeah.
So now those images, if you go to download the images for those ROMs onto your Steam Deck or what have you, you get an image that says this was removed because of a DMCA strike from Nintendo. So
That's not good.
no.
I want them to replace all of that art with a child's drawing of that artwork.
It would be pretty great.
Sorry.
What you got to
this.
do is you have to have like an AI be like, what do you think the art for Banjo-Kazooie 64 looked like? That way you own anything it generates.
Oh, that would be great, actually. Put it into, what the fuck is that thing that I've been playing with? Midjourney.
Ollie or Midjourney, Crambox, whatever. Ever since I think it was Midjourney that got leaked, you could get AI art generators like people make a new fork every day.
That would be nice. I have one of those AI generators, and I probably just don't use the right terms, but none of them have ever really come out looking good. It always looks like a child's rendition of what I'm asking for.
Midjourney is fucking incredible, but I'll be damned if I'm going to pay for any of these things.
Nope.
Yeah, there's one that I think they give you like 15 pictures a day or something like that, or a month.
Dolly gives me like 10 a month, and I've never even gotten close to using that.
Yeah, Dolly gives you a bunch free every month. Midjourney, I think, gives you 25 total for free, and then you have to pay after that. But Midjourney, Midjourney is like fucking incredible at making realistic images. Like it is unbelievable. But it's a tangent, and we got shit to do. So
We never do that here.
We would never, ever, and I mean ever, create tangents here, at the Reetin Entertainment Podcast. But yeah, I hope that they're able to get those pictures back, or at least get some semblance of a picture without getting the DMCA strike, because that's just dumb that it's art. It's not even like the artwork in the art books. It's just the cover art, so that you can have the cover art with the games. But we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about something I know Connor brought up, which is a subscription fee to make your car go vroom.
Sweet fucking Jesus.
It sure is becoming clown world out there. So imagine, if you will, having to pay like $18 monthly to warm your heated seats in the car that you bought with heated seats. Some people might roll their eyes and go, okay, whatever. Imagine paying $80 a year to have access to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, things that are already cooked into your car. And you might roll your eyes and go, whatever.
There's another one.
Latest...
No, can I I'm going to interrupt, because there's another one that Toyota was doing where you have to pay a subscription fee to unlock your car, or I'm sorry, turn on your car with remote start. Yeah, they want you to pay. They want you to pay money. So because for the first 3 years in the fine print of a certain Prius model, it said you get 3 years of this for free, and then we'll turn it off, and you have to pay a monthly subscription.
I just want a car that I could put Linux on. I'm getting so sick and tired of this.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go on.
The next in this awful cancer of a trend that's been plaguing our society is the ability to access the full capabilities of your engine. That is to say, you want all that horsepower you bought? It's going to cost you.
Yes.
Mercedes is the latest manufacturer to lock auto features behind a subscription fee with their upcoming acceleration increase add-on that lets drivers pay to access motor performance via their vehicle that's already capable. That is $1,200 a yearly subscription to improve performances by boosting outputs to the motors by 20 to 24%, increasing torque and shaving around 0.8 to 0.9 seconds off of 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration. I agree.
Is $1,200 a year worth waiting one more second to get to 60 miles an hour?
So I'm not a car person, and I have friends who are car people. I don't want to disrespect them by any means, but I've never driven anything that wasn't like one bad sneeze from being a wreck on the side of the road.
Yeah,
I don't need to go fast. Like that. And when I was in Germany, I did the Autobahn. I do get why people get the rush of going like 180 kilometers an hour or whatever. But
the roads in the United States aren't as cool as the Autobahn.
No, but the moral here I'm trying to say is like, you don't need to go that fast.
No.
Slow down. We need to share the road. Be safe.
And I think they're bringing this at a really poor time when so many people are working from home. Like I go into work once a week. Do I want to pay $1,200 to have slightly faster speed when I'm going to work once a week? No, not really. And I don't know how many people are going to do this. Though I will say, Tesla started this with their ludicrous mode, where you had to pay to get the ludicrous mode, which did the same thing, where it increased your horsepower or the tuning so that you could accelerate faster. I don't think
Nathan, that would imply that I'm paying attention to things going on with Tesla cars.
That's true. And that was years ago. That was like 6 years ago or something that they implemented ludicrous mode. Hi, Danny.
I'm making him mad because he keeps trying to lay on my keyboard. It is interesting that a lot of these are German car manufacturers, because it doesn't mention it here, but I worked for a small company that serviced a lot of car dealerships, and one of them was a Volkswagen dealership. And through them, I discovered that Volkswagen's like repair parts program is fucking horse shit. And I know I've brought it up before whenever we've talked about right to repair shit, but it's very much in this same vein. of like whenever you have a Volkswagen, you can only order parts if you are a registered repair technician
Mm-hmm.
with Volkswagen. And part of that is using Volkswagen's proprietary software that allows you to look at the parts catalog in the first place. To be able to look at any repair manuals or anything, you have to have this software, which only comes on CDs, and you have to swipe through 4 different CDs to install the whole fucking thing. And then once you get it in there are 2 different license keys you have to use for each individual user. Like it's just a huge fucking pain in the ass. But point being, like these car manufacturers, BMW is another German car manufacturer, and Mercedes is German. Like I don't know what it is with this trend of German fucking car companies just pulling a bunch of horse shit and not letting people own the fucking cars that they paid for. They're trying to be the tech world, and the shitty thing is that it's going to work in a lot of these cases because Mercedes and BMW, at the least, are generally luxury vehicle manufacturers.
Yeah.
So these are all fucking uppity, up their own ass fucking rich people who are buying these cars anyway, or they're stupid people who aren't going to be paying attention to what they're actually putting their money into.
Yeah. And
Like,
they're not used to certain things that, like Connor said, he's never driven a car that wasn't one good sneeze away from crashing, right? Like it's not, he hasn't driven great cars, is what he was saying.
I thought you just meant that vehicles in general are garbage, and like,
well,
why
that
would you
too.
ever pay why would you pay a premium cost for a vehicle that's the same steel coffin as every other vehicle on the road?
I was saying the former, but the latter certainly does apply. Yes.
I had a friend who was a nanny for a while, and she was driving the kids somewhere in her kind of beater car, and it broke down. And the parents were not used to that because they all drove like they would always lease BMWs, and so they always had a brand new car that didn't break down. And so they're like, no, from now on you drive our cars because we don't want the kids in danger. And so she's like, oh no, I have to drive a BMW around all the time. But yeah, I don't think it's strictly German car manufacturers that do
it's not
that type of thing.
It's just a curious thing that is German manufacturers, it seems, they're sort of at the forefront of this trend.
I have a 2010 Toyota Prius, and I didn't know how the map system worked in it. So I called up Toyota and I was like, hey, my maps is out of date. I was trying to get somewhere, like it was telling me to go down a road that didn't exist anymore. Like I need to update my maps. And they're like, oh yeah, sure thing. That'll be $280.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, no, I'm good. And so I didn't do that. And I was driving around one day and I was just messing with my car because I was bored waiting for somebody. And I opened the disc tray, and when you open the disc tray, it like folds down and there's the disc tray on top. And I was like, and I look down and it says DVD on the bottom. And there's another disc tray. And I was like, what's that? And I press the button and a DVD comes out. That's the map DVD.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. So I went on eBay and spent like $10.
Uh-huh.
And I updated my maps.
Yeah. Nissan uses, at least they used to be, they were SD cards. I don't know about now if it's a flash drive, because I haven't seen an SD card reader in my current Nissan. But yeah, like the maps that they use in most vehicles, like the built-in navigation, they are licensed from Garmin or TomTom generally, and they just put their own like little skin on top of it.
Yeah, so I assume whoever sold me that DVD had actually bought the DVD for like the $200 that they sell it for, and then just started making copies and selling it on eBay.
Probably. There were the Nissan ones have some kind of copy protection on them that make it a little more difficult, I guess, because I was never able to find copies of the Nissan ones, but also maybe it's just that no one cared because like who uses the built-in navigation in their vehicle?
Yeah, I
Just
always
use your phone.
yeah, I just use my phone. Like I did when I first got my vehicle, occasionally try to use it. But I just have a little mount on my dashboard that I just keep my phone on and we're
And-
good.
And like I have CarPlay. Like
I want CarPlay. I want or Android Auto in my car.
Yeah.
That would be great, but that would cost like $500 or $600 to install a new system. So I don't want to do that, considering I want to buy a new vehicle in the next year or two. Anyway,
yeah. And like any car that was manufactured in the last 5 or 6 years is probably going to have it built in unless you get the lowest what do you call it, trim.
yeah, the lowest, but even the lowest model nowadays usually have some sort of navigation like that.
It depends on the company, let me tell you.
That's true. Anyway, I think we're done unless Connor has anything else to add.
Nope. We should mention that that article was from The Verge, I mean, so we don't get sued.
It'll be linked down below.
Yeah.
But also, fuck The Verge.
They can't make computers. Yeah.
Nope.
Anyway, I want to thank you for being here, Aurora.
Yeah, I was here.
And I want to thank you for being here, Connor.
I was here.
And we will be back next week talking about more video game and or tech news. Goodbye.
Goodbye.